Hi, it's Fergal here and welcome to A Frame of Mind. It's day 8 of the World Championship. 3 more last 16 matches start today. The first one is Anthony McGill against Jack Lisowski. The other day, myself and Micheal Judge discussed it, who'd win and why. Next last 16 match, Anthony McGill against Jack Lisowski. I always remember years ago in China, Andrew Higgins was talking to players and I went over to join the discussion over and he asked me who's a better player or who will be, McGill or Lisowski. I remember exactly what I said is McGill will be a great player, Lisowski will be a superstar. Right. Kind of hasn't happened exactly. McGill has done well, he's won tournaments, he's on the verge. Lisowski is starting to show a bit more consistency and you can see if in theory he did win the World Championship, his personality, the way he plays, he's a very popular player already, but of course he's still not just a world title, he's never won a ranking event. So, first question, McGill and then Lisowski, will they ever win the World Championship?
I actually really rate Anthony McGill. I think he reminds me of Steve Davis from years ago. Really, I know he's a bit of the ginger look and that, but he
not now.
It's kind of he had, but he did. But I rate him highly. I think he's got everything it takes to win the World Championships. I really do, and including bottle. He's a great bottle player. He's not afraid to beat the big boys. I think of the two of them, I mean, I'd love to see Jack win one.
We all would.
Yeah, he's like a movie star, isn't he? You know, if he won, he reminds me of Jimmy White when Jimmy was young. You know, and he's got that same charisma about him. He's left-hander, plays so attacking. But you know, I know he's trying to tone it down a bit. He's working with Peter Ebdon, which would really help him. I mean, because Peter's one of the best of all time too. You know, on his day. But he just lacked something for me. Even watching him the other day. He just some shots he plays are just so strange, you know. I just think he needs to curb that to have any chance of winning the World Championships against the likes of Mark Selby and and Higgins and Ronnie. So he just lacks in that department a bit for me. But I would love to see him win it, as everyone would. But I think McGill has more chance of winning it than Lisowski in my eyes, and I actually fancy having McGill to beat him in this match. I think he'll have too much all-round game for Jack.
Yeah, no, I'm so this is I actually tipped Anthony to beat Judge Trump.
Yeah, fancy.
I did go for not on to upset Lisowski, but I think I called over the 17 days. 100% think Jack Lisowski will a ranking. He hasn't won one. He will win a ranking event. He'll probably win a couple of them, but I just think 17 days is just too long. That kind of like carelessness. Now I give him a slight chance. A few years ago, I said no chance. But I think working with Ebdon has tightened him up, more focused. I'll give him a chance.
Yeah, absolutely.
But just actually thinking they were talking about Ebdon. Ebdon's actually working with both of them. So again, that's Chris Henry's had it before as well. Remember he had to go to Selby's dressing room and Murphy's. So it's an interesting one for Ebdon. But funny, straight off the bat, I thought Ebdon working with Lisowski was like perfect. You think they're so different. I thought Ebdon, what he has, his attributes, added to Jack's flair, could be but Ebdon and McGill, funny, I thought that it was too much. Intense with intense might be a bit too much. I could be wrong, but maybe the fact that they're such also snooker nuts and you can see them discussing for half an hour. Should he have went for the yellow that was on the cushion? So maybe that might.
That's a good. I didn't know he was working with McGill as well. So I mean that's even more of a positive for McGill for me. You know, for to have a chance of winning the World Championships because obviously Peter's been there and done it. So it's an intriguing match. I mean, as I said, Lisowski, I agree. He is capable if everything went his way to win it. He's got the talent, the pure talent, ability, like Jimmy. But as we say with Jimmy in the past, you need a bit more than that to actually win it especially against these guys around now. You know, so.
You just think his bad session is a 7-1.
Yeah, I think,
and that's going to be too much.
As I'd love to see Jack, as we all would, win one. I think he could one day if he keeps going down this road. Now he's on the right road to win one, but I don't think it's going to be this year. Yeah. But I think hopefully he will in the future, and I think he definitely can. But it's not easy. It's not easy, as we all know.
But that's they say it about everybody, like Jack or whatever. I definitely win a world title, and you go, well, if you break it, as I always say, break it down. Okay, he plays McGill very hard. I fancy McGill to win, but that could have been Trump. But then if you look at the draw, regardless of his first one, he's to basically go Trump or McGill, Murphy, Ronnie or Williams, and either then Robertson or Higgins over 3 sessions. 3 days. He could do one, he could do two, not much to get to the semis or final. Certainly not at the moment can he do that, but I mean, if you actually break down what it takes to be world champion, the players you have to beat over the distances with all the pressure.
Yeah, it's a lot more than just talent.
Yeah,
you know, there's so much more that goes into it over these 17 days, and it's just hopefully, as we said down the line, he will get there. I just think this year is too soon for him, but he is on the right track, and I actually fancy Anthony to beat him in this match this year, and I actually fancy McGill to go on a bit of a run this year. You know.
Yeah, I think he's a good tip. So McGill to win, and then also McGill to be a future world champion.
Yeah, I think he can be. You know, I think he has all the attributes to win this tournament. But whether he does or not is a question. But I think he could. Of the two players, I think he's more likely to win it this year anyway.
Yeah, we both agree on that one. McGill to go through. Starting this evening is the 4-time world champion Mark Shelby against Gary Wilson. Again, myself and Michael discussed it and who'll win and why. So Mick, the last 16 match, Mark Selby against Gary Wilson. Of course, Gary won the Geordie Derby. Considering they were good friends, I didn't know maybe during the match I thought maybe they might have a bit of a chat. But even at the end, it was very business-like.
Yeah.
There was no hug or warmth or whatever. But maybe afterwards.
No, it was I thought that myself actually. I mean, if that was like likes of myself and yourself and care or something, you know, there would have been even a little.
It wouldn't have been just a shake.
No, it would have been So I don't know, maybe that's just not the same mentality as the Irish, you know. Maybe we're too weak.
Too nice.
We're too loving. But I was surprised there myself, you know. But I suppose maybe just the way the match went. Elliot was probably disappointed when he did come back and not win, and Gary was a bit relieved. So I don't know. Listen, everyone's their own different personalities, but two good guys.
Exactly. That's just the two good guys, two characters. You wouldn't know, playing so same as us playing. Me, you played as similar to them as I said. It could be awkward and it's a scrappy, horrible game, or we're both so comfortable playing each other we both could fly. I think it's either. Now, to be fair, maybe in the second session, okay, Elliot was behind. He probably relaxed and played it, and then because I'm sure they've practiced because they're great potters. I'm sure they've had practice matches where it's just like savage scoring all day, and they got into that. But eventually Gary got through. However, slightly different.
Yeah, it was. I think that probably worked in his favour coming through that way. You know, if we had a 1 10-2, 10-3, you know, we wouldn't have been tested as much. Which, he's playing Mark Selby next, who you've got to have everything in your favour to beat Mark at the Crucible. So I think that will stand Gary in good stead that he had to finish off with what he did with fantastic centuries. He was tested. I mean, he's proven already that he does have it. You know, he's a fantastic player. He's actually, I'll be honest, 2 years ago I didn't think he was as good as he is now, but he's really shocked me at how good he is.
I remember the same as
like
the same time. I remember we were back in all the tournaments when Prestatton, and he was on the practice table beside seeing a match or two. And he was just so raw.
Yeah.
It was just like an amateur. It was just so. Even his cue action was different to Toulouse, but I mean, through hard work and mentality, he's turned into a hell of a player. And I said, you dismiss him at your peril, but I think I don't see him winning the tournament, but he could stop anybody winning the tournament. But again, Selby he's one coming nicely into form. We're talking about peaking for the final. He's peaking nicely for this tournament. Still a little bit under the radar. Looked very good in this first round. And regardless of how well Gary plays, if Mark plays his very best, again, I only see Mark winning here.
Yeah, I'm the same. I think this year, Mark has a fantastic chance of winning his 5th world title. I think the way the year's worked out, not getting into it earlier.
It's problems on sale.
But the way it's worked out, he's come in here as fresh as anybody.
Yeah.
It's just peaked at the perfect time, winning the last tournament, the one before that. So he looks really good. He looks sharp, and he looks fresh, which is probably the most important thing for him and most players. I think Wilson's a fantastic player. He's a danger to anyone, but I think Mark will have too much for him over a long match. And I think Mark's going to be really hard to beat this year. As I said in one of the earlier interviews, I think I fancy the 2 Marks for this semis. Himself and Mark Allen, that'd be a fantastic match too if that does happen. Usually all my predictions are wrong, so go the opposite way. But yeah, and for me, Mark, I think, will beat Gary. It'll be a good match though. I think Gary will really put it up to him.
Yeah.
But I'm giving frame scores now and all, but
yeah.
I'd fancy Selby probably 13-9.
Yeah.
If I was guessing. Selby for me.
I think if Shelby wins this tournament, we're going to look back and all kick ourselves going, how did we not back Mark Selby?
Yeah.
Apparently he's 4-time world champion, so that's done. But also, he's the perfect balance of he's lovely and fresh. He hasn't had too much. Probably as well, with the, off the table, that seems himself. He's a lot happier. He's also fresh, and he's also confident because he's won that tournament recently in Leicester. So if you're ticking boxes, previous winner, form, but not too much form, not too much pressure, happy off the table, happy with everything. He's ticking them all. So I said, once I went for Robertson, my danger for Robertson, if Robertson doesn't win it, I think it's because of Selby. If Robertson gets the final, I think he'd win it. So my semi-final is Micheal Robertson against Mark Selby, and the top half, Ronnie to play Murphy. Who's your predictions for the semis?
My semis, the top half, I think it'll be Mark Williams against Sean Murphy, and the bottom half, I think it'll be the two Marks. So I've got actually 3 marks in the semis overall, so it's just better Mark, you can't lose. But Mark and Mark Selby. I think.
And who's the final then?
I'm gonna go maybe a bit biased because the two good lads, are mates, so I'd go Murphy Allen, I'd love to see that final.
Well, as I said before ball was hit, that was the first thing I said. The final I'd love to see is obviously Sean and Mark. Obviously, we have a personal interest, but I
honestly believe that could be the final.
Oh God, yeah.
I mean, Alan Selby for me down the bottom. Listen, it won't be a surprise whatsoever if Selby goes on and wins the tournament.
Of course,
as you said. But I'd love to see Murphy Allen final. It'd be a great party after that one.
Because they're such good pals. Plus, as well as we've seen, the banter on Twitter or whatever between them, that's actually the pressure. Not just to win the World Championship, just to lose the stick you get forever from the other one.
I went up to the Sports Club Antrim, Snooker Club there, Mark's Club, a few days before the qualifying for World Championships, and they practice so hard. It's phenomenal to see. And there's
Mark and
Jordan Brown, young Robbie McQuiggan. He had a couple of younger players there, Liam Graham from Scotland, and Joel, and a good upcoming kid, I can't think of his second name. Joel, anyway, he knows what I'm talking about. But they practice so hard. Lovely club as well.
Yeah, great club.
Lovely staff, well looked after. And the standard was phenomenal. I mean, Mark was like having 8 tons in the best of 19 and 147s, one against me, one against young Aaron Hill came with me as well, another future world champion Aaron Hill from Cork.
I'm delighted you said that. And I was delighted when a year ago Sean went up, because I've went up to a good bit to play in Antrim with Jordan and Mark a lot. But in some of the stuff, again, I've practiced with Hendry early 90s, I've practiced with Ronnie. Obviously, Ken's produced some great stuff in practice. Anthony Hamilton, I thought before, was the best I've ever practiced with. But Mark Allen is even better again.
Yeah, phenomenal.
So as you said, it seems like you break off, you're 3-0 down. He beat you 10-3. He said 7 tons. So Sean Murphy came up one day where I was interested to see this. And I remember they actually played, they were both seeded, like it was slagging, they were both seeded. Yeah. So they decided to have a best of 25 because they didn't have to qualify, they were already straight into the second round. But anyway, Mark beat him 13-5. Mark had 10 centuries and 2 80s, and one of them was a maximum.
Yeah.
So again, Sean in practice, he plays his full game, he's not taking any liberties. There was no talking, nothing. It was his proper game. And for me it was great because it's not just me, he hammers everybody.
Yeah, no, I've seen him, I heard these stories as well. I didn't quite believe them until I went up and incredible.
I'm delighted now he hammered you as well.
He had a guy, he hammered me 10-0 and he'd like about 6 centuries, one of them was a 147.
I used to add on a couple of frames. If it was 10-1, I used to say 10-3 to people.
He played young Aaron Hill, who was a fantastic little player from Cork. And Aaron was playing fantastic at the moment. Aaron went 8-2 up on him, and Mark came back and had 8 tons, and one of them was a 147. So on the best of 19, he had 8 tons and a 147 was one of them. And then Aaron had a few tons.
That's from 8. Let's go back from 8 to 10.
That's incredible. Yeah. So you wouldn't believe it unless you see it with your own eyes. So.
Yeah, no. That's what people think you're exaggerating. No. And it's even people have come up with me for the day or two to watch. And the first thing you do is when you go into the car, you're always a bit like, that was unbelievable. Like, I thought there are like I thought he'll definitely win a world title. And then you'd be like, actually, he could win a few of them. Like, amazing to see.
If he gets one under his belt, I think, like a lot of players, you get that first one out of the way, you know, it opens up the doors for more. Yeah. But listen, it's a great tournament to watch now and see what happens.
And actually, a good point there from Mick. I think we're both tipping Aaron Hill as a future world champion.
Yeah. Great future young player. Good friend of mine. Lovely family behind him, you know.
Yeah, great.
Good people, you know. They're up there in Cork, so he's a star of the future in my eyes, you know.
And so another shout out to another Cork lad, Ross Pullman.
Yeah.
Great potential as well. Hopefully get through Q school and get on the tour as well. So those two lads will be flying the flag when me, Mick, Ken eventually stop playing. Yesterday morning, Luca Pastell and Mark Williams resumed their match at 4-all. After the second session, Luca led 9-7 and ended up having a great victory, 13-11. He goes into the quarterfinals to play the winner of Ronnie O'Sullivan and Hussein Vafai. And again, from what we've seen yesterday afternoon, you'd have to think that'd be Ronnie. As 18 months worth of tension finally exploded for Hussein, most notably with his break-off in the second frame, scattering the balls everywhere, and of course Ronnie punished him. He leads 6-2 now, Ronnie, and I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up winning even with a session to spare. Mark Allen again was in sparkling form today. He leads Stuart Bingham 12-4 and just needs one more frame to make the quarterfinals. Also starting today is the two men who had great victories in the first round, both of them 10-9, Robert Milkins and Si Zhao Wei. They start this evening. Should be another great day snooker. Hope you enjoy it. See you again tomorrow. Thank you.